Picture a man shouting inches from your face. His veins bulge. His voice fractures. He is starving for a response. He needs you to shout back. He needs you to justify yourself. He needs you to step into the chaos he created because that chaos is the only arena where he feels strong. Now imagine you remain still. You do not blink. You do not scowl. You do not turn away. You simply observe him like a scientist studying a rat in a cage. You are perfectly motionless. In that instant, something changes. The balance shifts. His rage becomes confusion. Then that confusion hardens into fear because he understands he cannot reach you. He cannot interpret you. He cannot dominate you. He throws his entire being at you, and you absorb it like a black hole. This produces a psychological error in the human mind. It frightens people. It forces them to doubt their own sense of reality. And 500 years ago, Niccolò Machiavelli realized that this precise ability, the power to become a void, is the highest form of power. Most men spend their whole lives enslaved to reaction. Someone insults them. They flare up. Someone praises them. They grin. They are marionettes. Their strings are tugged by everyone around them, their wives, their bosses, the news, the traffic. They believe they are free, but they are merely biological programs responding to stimuli. But there is another kind of man, a man who has severed the strings, a man who has perfected the craft of being unreadable. When you achieve this, you become dangerous, not physically threatening, but mentally lethal. You become a mirror that sends people's demons back at them. You become the most powerful presence in any room, not because you are the loudest voice, but because you are the only one who refuses to play the game. Today, we will dissect the human ego. We will break down the skill that Machiavelli whispered to princes in the shadowed corridors of Florence. I will show you how to detach, how to remain unreadable, and how to wield silence as a weapon that crushes your enemy's resolve without you ever raising a hand. But understand, this is not about kindness or moral superiority. This is about dominance. This is about becoming the architect of your own reality. Most people cannot tolerate this degree of control. It feels unnatural. It feels cold. Good. Let others stay warm and weak. You are here to become something different. Let us begin. To grasp why this skill is so frightening, you must first understand the machinery of the ordinary mind. The fragile mind. Humans are social creatures. We are built for feedback loops. For thousands of years, survival depended on being understood by the tribe. If you were misunderstood, you were expelled. If you were expelled, you died. So we developed a deep, desperate craving for validation. We need to know where we stand. Whenever two men engage, there is an unspoken agreement. I reveal my emotion. You reveal yours. I strike. You defend. I joke. You laugh. It becomes a rally of energy. Back and forth like a ping-pong match. It feels reassuring. It makes people comfortable because it makes the future foreseeable. But what happens when you refuse to return the ball? What happens when someone insults you and you simply look at them? You do not become angry. You do not appear wounded. You do not attempt to seem strong. You just watch. You have shattered the social agreement. You have withheld the feedback loop their brain is desperately demanding. And because nature despises a vacuum, their mind shifts into panic. They begin filling the silence with their own doubts. They start asking themselves, does he know something I don't? Is he plotting something? Am I invisible to him? Why isn't this working? Machiavelli grasped this better than anyone before him. He lived in an era of vipers. Florence in the 1500s was a city where a single misplaced word could mean a blade between the ribs. He observed princes rise and collapse, and he recognized a pattern: the reactive princes, the ones who displayed their anger, their fear, their delight, were simple to eliminate because they were predictable. If you know what a man loves, you can turn it into bait. If you know what he despises, you can turn it into a snare. But the princes who wore masks, those who mastered simulation and dissimulation, survived. They were the ones who unsettled the courts because you cannot ensnare a ghost. This is the first lesson. Predictability is a death sentence. Examine your own life. How often have you surrendered your power because you felt compelled to justify yourself? Your boss criticizes you. Instantly, your pulse rises. You begin speaking. Well, actually, the reason I did that was... Stop. What are you doing? You are placing your cards on the table. You are proving that he has the ability to disturb your calm. You are pleading to be understood. A powerful man does not require understanding. He requires effectiveness. When you explain yourself, you stand in weakness. When you remain silent, you stand in judgment. Machiavelli wrote, "Men are so simple and so ready to obey present necessities that one who deceives will always find those who allow themselves to be deceived." He was not instructing you to lie. He was urging you to govern the flow of information. Your expression is information. Your tone carries information. Your reaction is data. Stop handing your data away for nothing. The ability that unsettles other men is the power to endure the strain of what remains unsaid. Most people experience that strain in their bodies. A silence lingers in the air, and they feel compelled to shatter it. They crack a poor joke. They apologize. They rush to fill the emptiness. The dangerous man embraces the emptiness. He stays within it. He watches you twist inside it. He understands that the longer the silence stretches, the more truth you will expose. This is the distinction between a dog and a lion. A dog barks at everything. A leaf moves. Bark. A car goes by. Bark. A stranger pass. Bark. The dog is reactive. It lacks control. It is enslaved to its surroundings. A lion is different. A lion can remain on a rock for hours, observing, waiting. A lion does not roar at a leaf. It does not squander energy. But when it acts, it finishes things. Other men fear the lion, not because of its fangs, but because of its stillness. They never know when it will strike. You must kill the dog within you, the part that needs to be heard, the part that needs to be correct, the part that needs to explain. Let them misunderstand you. Let them assume you are foolish. Let them believe you are weak. Let them construct an entire fortress of assumptions on a base of sand. Because while they are occupied with assuming, you are occupied with calculating. Let us go deeper. We must examine the engineering of your mind. In systems theory, there is an idea known as a black box. A black box is a system where the input is visible and the output is visible, but the internal mechanism remains hidden. You do not know how it processes information. You must become a black box. At present, most men are glass boxes. Everyone can see the gears spinning. Someone disrespects you. We observe the gear of ego turning the gear of anger, which then turns the gear of shouting. It is mechanical. It is pitiful. When you become a black box, you alter the physics of the exchange. Consider this situation. You are in a meeting. A colleague attempts to undermine you. He makes a sarcastic remark about your project. The glass box man becomes defensive. He fires back with a sharp reply. He scans the room for approval. He has already lost. He has stepped into the attacker's frame. The black box man responds differently. He hears the insult. That is the input. And then nothing follows. He pauses. He looks at the colleague. Perhaps he nods slowly. Perhaps he writes something in his notebook. Then he resumes speaking as though the colleague never said a word. What just occurred? The colleague hurled a grenade, and it never detonated. It disappeared into emptiness. Now the colleague is unsettled. Did he hear me? Did he not care? Is he noting my name to dismiss me later? Is he so far above me that my insult did not even register? You have frightened him without raising a hand. This is what Machiavelli meant when he spoke about the reputation of the prince. A prince must be variable. He must not be bound to a single pattern of behavior. If you always become angry when insulted, I can control you. I only need to insult you when I want you to lose reason. If you constantly look for approval, I can manipulate you. I only need to withhold praise until you comply with what I want. But if your response is detached from my action, I lose all leverage. This demands a level of detachment that feels almost cold-blooded. You must learn to observe your own emotions as though they belong to someone else. You feel the surge of anger. Good. Recognize it. I am feeling anger. but do not allow it to reach your face. Do not allow it to enter your voice. There is a gap, a microscopic space, between stimulus and response. Viktor Frankl, the psychiatrist who survived the Nazi death camps, discovered his freedom within that gap. He said, between stimulus and response, there is a space. In that space is our power to choose our response. Most men have no space at all. They are fused to their environment. You must expand the gap. When you expand the gap, you slow time itself. Have you noticed that high-status individuals move more slowly, they speak more slowly, they blink more slowly? Low-status individuals are restless. They scan the room. They talk quickly because they fear interruption. They vibrate with anxiety. Machiavelli would advise you to slow down. Speed is a sign of fear. Speed says, I am running out of time. Slowness says, I control the time. When you delay your response, you project dominance. Consider a negotiation. The other party states a price. If you respond at once, you appear eager. You appear desperate. If you wait 3, 4, 5 seconds in complete silence, you cause them to question their own offer. They may even reduce the price just to escape the discomfort. Your silence works on your behalf. It becomes a heavy, unseen hand pressing against the other person's chest. Why do men fear this ability? Because it mirrors the unknown. We are biologically wired to fear darkness. Why? Because darkness conceals predators. A silent man is like a dark room. You cannot tell what is inside. Is he virtuous? Is he dangerous? Is he brilliant? Is he foolish? The human mind struggles with ambiguity. It tries to resolve it, and often resolves it by assigning power to the unclear figure. We assume the quiet man is intelligent. We assume the unreactive man is strong. He might not be. He might be hollow within, but the assumption itself grants him authority. Machiavelli understood that in the game of power, appearance becomes reality. Everyone sees what you seem to be. Few encounter what you truly are. If you appear unshakable, you become unshakable in their perception, and that perception will cause them to hesitate before crossing you. Now you may feel an objection rising. Isn't this suppression? Isn't it unhealthy? Won't I eventually explode? No. Suppression is when you bury an emotion and pretend it does not exist. Suppression is rooted in fear. What we are discussing is containment. Imagine a nuclear reactor. Inside the core there is tremendous heat, immense radiation, chaos, energy. But the walls are thick layers of lead and concrete. On the outside, the structure is cool. It is quiet. It is organized. You are not turning into a machine. You are becoming a reactor. You feel everything. You feel the disrespect. You feel the betrayal. You feel the burning urge for revenge. But you have built a citadel around your mind. The walls of that citadel are constructed from logic, strategy, and purpose. Nothing exits without permission. When an emotion attempts to escape through your mouth, the guard at the gate halts it. The guard asks one question: does expressing this serve my ultimate objective? If the answer is no, the emotion remains inside. It is processed. It is converted into fuel. If the answer is yes, then and only then do you open the gate and release it with precision. Machiavelli did not say never feel anger. He said, use everything as a tool. At times, a deliberate burst of rage is effective. If a subordinate grows lazy, a sharp, controlled flash of anger can jolt them awake. But the essential word is controlled. You are not angry because you lost control. You are displaying anger because it is the correct tactical choice for the moment. You are the puppet master of your own soul. This unsettles other men because, deep down, they know they are ruled by their impulses. When they encounter a man who is not, they experience a quiet sense of inferiority. They label you cold. They label you arrogant. They label you sociopathic. Let them. These are merely terms they use to soothe themselves. They attempt to recast your strength as a flaw so they do not have to confront their own weakness. It is easier to call a disciplined man obsessive than to admit you are lazy. It is easier to call a stoic man emotionally unavailable than to admit you lack emotional control. Machiavelli teaches indifference towards such labels. He wrote that it is better to be feared than loved if you cannot be both. Why? Because love is unstable. Love is granted by others and can be withdrawn by others. Fear, specifically the fear rooted in respect and unpredictability, is maintained by you. It rests on your actions, not on their emotions. But understand what this fear truly means. We are not speaking of tyranny. We are not speaking of bullying. We are speaking of the fear inspired by the deep ocean. It is beautiful. It is calm. Yet you respect it because you know it is vast. And you know it can crush you if you fail to respect it. This is therapeutic darkness. When you stand beside a man who possesses this skill, you actually feel more secure. Why? Because you know he will not panic. If a building catches fire, the man who screams is useless. The silent, calculating man is the one you choose to follow. So the fear you generate is a double-edged blade to your enemies. It becomes a nightmare. They cannot manipulate you. To your allies, it becomes a shield. They know you are steady. But to construct this citadel, you must engage in shadow work. You must examine why you react. Why did that insult wound you because you are insecure about your intelligence? Why did that rejection hurt? Because you crave validation. You must repair the foundation. You cannot raise a fortress on a swamp. Machiavelli was a realist. He saw the world as it was, not as it ought to be. You must see yourself as you truly are. Identify your triggers and neutralize them. A trigger is simply a button someone else installed in your psyche. If I press this, he becomes sad. If I press this, he attacks. Enter the wiring and sever the cables. When you move through the world with no buttons to press, you are untouchable. People will attempt to press them. They will test you. They will provoke you. And when nothing happens, they will look at you with that distinct mixture of awe and fear, because they realize they have no weapon against you. We have discussed silence in the immediate moment. Now we must discuss silence over time. Absence. Machiavelli understood that familiarity breeds contempt. If you are constantly available, you lose value. If you always answer the phone, you appear subordinate. If you are always present at the party, you become part of the background. The ability that unsettles men is the power to walk away without explanation. We live in an age obsessed with closure. Everyone wants closure. They want the final discussion. They want to resolve it. They want the breakup message to clarify everything. Why? Because closure lets them wrap the story neatly, place it on a shelf, and feel justified. Oh, he left because he wasn't ready for commitment. She fired me because the budget was reduced. Closure is a comfort blanket. The dangerous man withholds closure. He retreats. He does not block you. He does not create drama. He simply fades. He grows busy. His replies become shorter. Then they cease. This pushes the human mind toward obsession. It is the Zeigarnik effect amplified. The brain remembers unfinished tasks more vividly than completed ones. An unresolved conflict is an open loop. The mind spins endlessly, trying to close it. What did I do? Is he returning? Did I offend him by withholding closure? You take up space in their mind, rent-free. You become a ghost that lingers. In business, this is leverage. You are negotiating a contract. The terms are unfavorable. The amateur debates. He attempts to persuade. The Machiavellian calmly packs his bag, shakes hands, says, "I don't think this is for us," and walks away. He does not present a counteroffer. He leaves the emptiness behind. The other side remains holding the bag. They are forced to pursue, and whoever pursues surrenders power. Wait. Come back. Maybe we can adjust the rate. Now you have prevailed. In relationships, this becomes the ultimate filter. A woman tests you. She withdraws to see if you will chase. Most men do. They grow anxious. Are you upset with me? The dark psychologist responds differently. She pulls away. He mirrors it. He withdraws even further. He returns to his mission. He signals, "I want you, but I do not need you." That difference, desire versus need, is unmistakable. Need repels. Need carries the scent of decay. Autonomy attracts. The skill lies in being at ease with the possibility of loss. You must be prepared to lose the deal. You must be prepared to lose the relationship. You must be prepared to lose the validation. Machiavelli wrote, "A wise prince should rely on what is in his own control, not on what is in the control of others. If you cannot walk away, you are enslaved. If you can walk away, you are free, and free men frighten slaves." Consider the men you admire most. Do they justify themselves? Do they apologize for their existence? Do they beg for notice? No. They possess gravity. They are anchored in their own reality. If you step into their orbit, fine. If you exit their orbit, the planet continues to turn. This is the abundance mindset sharpened into a weapon. It declares, "My mission outweighs your opinion." When you practice strategic absence, your value rises. Scarcity creates worth. Gold holds value because it is rare. Air is essential, yet it costs nothing because it is everywhere. Be gold, not air. Let them feel your absence. Let them question you. Do not post every detail on social media. Do not broadcast each movement. Remain a mystery. In a culture of oversharing, the man who reveals nothing becomes the one everyone studies. They search for hints. They examine your few words like sacred text. The roles have reversed. You are no longer consuming attention. You are the scarce commodity. Now we must confront the true enemy. The enemy is not the shouting man. It is not the manipulator. It is not the boss. The enemy is you. More precisely, your ego. Your ego resists everything I have said. It wants to shout back. It wants acknowledgement. It wants the final word. It wants to be correct. Machiavelli would say that being correct is a consolation prize for losers. Do you prefer to be right or to be effective? Often you cannot have both. You master this ability. You must destroy your ego. You must accept appearing foolish in order to win the war. There is a tale of a great general who was challenged to a duel by a young, impulsive soldier. The soldier spat in the general's face. The general remained still. He wiped away the spit and walked off. His men felt ashamed. "General, why didn't you kill him? You are a coward." The general replied, "If a donkey kicks you, do you kick it back?" The general had nothing to demonstrate. His ego was gone. Only his strategy remained. If he had fought the soldier, he would have descended to the soldier's level. By walking away, he remained a general. This is the most difficult part because when someone disrespects you, your blood heats up. It feels like a threat to your existence, but it is only a threat to your image. If you are secure in your own reality, an insult is merely noise. It is wind. It only wounds you if you secretly suspect it might be true. The man who fears being seen as weak is the one who overacts tough. The man who knows he is dangerous stays calm. He does not need to advertise it. This is the outlier mindset. You are engaged in a different game. They are playing the status game. Who appears cooler? Who is louder? You are playing the outcome game. Did I achieve what I intended? If silence secures the outcome, use silence. If flattery secures the outcome, use flattery. If aggression secures the outcome, use aggression. But never deploy them because you felt compelled. Use them because you decided to. Machiavelli was frequently labeled evil because he separated ethics from politics. Yet he was not evil. He was clinical. He viewed human interaction the way a mechanic views an engine. If the engine malfunctions, you do not pray to it. You do not rage at it. You repair it. Sometimes you use a hammer. Sometimes you apply oil. The people around you are the engine. Your emotions are the dashboard signals. You are the mechanic. Do not yell at the engine. Repair it. When you adopt this clinical distance, people sense it. They feel as if you are analyzing them with your eyes. They realize you are not following the rules of polite society. You are operating by the laws of nature. Power, leverage, reality. And reality terrifies those who prefer illusion. So what is the final aim? Do you become stone? A ghost? A hermit? No. You become an architect. When you stop reacting to the world, you gain the authority to shape it. You act. and the world responds. You determine the tempo. You determine the tone. You become the eye of the storm. Chaos circles around you. People shouting. Markets collapsing. Relationships dissolving. And you remain at the center. Calm. Deliberate. This ability, the ability of Machiavellian silence, of strategic containment, is the foundation of greatness. You cannot guide others if you cannot govern yourself. You cannot construct an empire if a single rude remark can shatter your focus. It requires practice. Tomorrow, someone will test you. The traffic will cut you off. A barista will act rudely. A friend will cancel on you. Your old programming will want to react. Catch it. Pause. Expand the gap. Observe the anger. Say, hello, and then choose silence. Notice what unfolds. Watch the other person. Notice their confusion. Notice their unease. And feel the surge of strength that comes from knowing you are the one in command. You are gripping the leash of the beast. Most men are pulled by the beast. You guide it. This is the road of the outlier. It feels lonely at first because you are stepping away from the herd. The herd is loud. The herd is warm. The herd is reactive. The path of the wolf is quiet. The path of the wolf is cold. But the wolf feeds. The sheep are consumed. Which are you? The ability that unsettles other men is simple, the complete refusal to be moved by anything except your own will. It is ultimate freedom, and once you experience it, you will never return to being a puppet. If this has opened your eyes, understand it is only the surface. This is what can be shown publicly. The algorithm permits it because it assumes it is merely philosophy. But there are elements of dark psychology that are not theoretical. They are practical, they are tactical, and they are dangerous. There are videos that cannot be uploaded for everyone. There are strategies involving manipulation, shadow work, and power dynamics that cannot be discussed on YouTube without censorship or demonetization. The system limits the most potent information because it does not want architect-level men. It wants workers. It wants consumers. Those uncensored lessons are available behind the join button. If you are still listening to this voice, you are different from the rest. You have the focus of a predator, not prey. Subscribe if you have not. But if you want what remains hidden, if you want the blueprint for the parts of the human psyche that polite society ignores, click the join button and step into the architect level. You will unlock exclusive, uncensored videos that explore the deepest, darkest areas of the mind. Most will not. They choose the blue pill. They choose the noise. That is the point. Power belongs to the few. Are you one of them? Click join. I will see you in the dark.